All right, good morning and hello everyone. We are going to continue with the chapter of power sharing in civics, and we are going to cover some more aspects of it. So yesterday what we were doing, or previous to this slide, what we were doing is we were trying to understand the dynamics of Sri Lanka, okay, the political dynamics of Sri Lanka, in which we saw that the Sinhala community or the majority community was actually taking steps to suppress the other communities, primarily the Tamil community. Okay, so the rift was because of the language, and there were quite a number of steps that were taken to suppress this community, and that led to a civil war kind of a situation. And this situation, as and when time went by and the atrocities or the suppressions of the Sinhala community increased, this increased, okay, the civil strife or the civil war situation increased, and thousands of people from all the communities lost their lives in this struggle. Okay, so it was basically a warfare that was going on inside the country itself. Okay, so Sri Lanka, basically if we look into it, Sri Lanka at one point of time, Sri Lanka had a good economy, okay, as compared to other countries. Its economy was rising. Other sectors like employment was rising. The healthcare system was in a good shape. However, when this civil strife began, okay, when the civil war like situation arose, when the civil strife or the civil war arose, then all of this went for a toss. Okay, just as we have now, since we have a situation of coronavirus which is prevalent all across the world, you can see how economies are basically struggling, how people are struggling to make their ends meet, to earn money, to support their family. So there is a lot of strife that is going all around the world. Unfortunately, there is only one virus that is to be blamed, but here the people were to be blamed, the system was to be blamed. Okay, the people were fighting amongst each other, because of which this was happening. So this civil war, when this civil strife happened, all of this went basically down. All of this went down. Obviously, it will be impacted. There was an insecurity amongst people. There was insecurity amongst investors. There was insecurity amongst businessmen. There was insecurity amongst political leaders. As you know that, as I discussed yesterday, that the civil strife was so taxing that the terrorists started killing the political leaders. Many of the presidents were killed, many of the political leaders were abducted, and they were killed as well. Okay, so there was a continuous environment of insecurity in Sri Lanka. Okay, so it all started dropping. Now this was due to the community strife. This was basically due to the community strife that was continuously happening between the two communities. Okay, now if this could have been controlled, how? If there was an equal power sharing between the two communities, then this could have been very well controlled. Between the two communities, then this could have been controlled. Then this civil war like situation could have been controlled. Civil war could have been controlled. So if this was basically the power sharing happened between the two communities, then this entire civil war situation would have been controlled. The people would have been able to control this entire situation. Okay, the entire country would have been safe, the economy would have been safe, the impacts that happened here wouldn't have happened at all. So this was one of the things that happened at that point of time. So this is the model that we are trying to correlate and understand. Now we have seen the disaster that happened in Sri Lanka. Now we will see how effectively things were managed in Belgium. So here the strife happened because the Sinhalas alienated the Tamils, and the Tamils felt that their rights are basically challenged, and hence this entire war went off. Okay, now what was if we correspondingly look as to what were the things that happened in Belgium, accommodation in Belgium. Okay, Meanwhile, you can take a snapshot of the same. I'll just rub this off. Okay, how were things accommodated in Belgium? Okay, see, accommodation. The leader in Belgium took different paths. What happened is that the leaders in Belgium, the political leaders in Belgium, they adopted a different strategy. They also saw the ethnic diversity in the country. We yesterday discussed about the ethnic diversity in the country. So they also saw and understood this ethnic diversity. Okay, the leaders basically recognized the ethnic diversity, and the leaders recognized and the policies were framed in such a way. Policies were framed in a way to support the ethnic communities, ethnic diversity or community. Okay, the policies that were framed by the leaders was in such a way as to support the ethnic diversity or community. Okay, so we will talk about what actions did they take. Now, in order to see that the ethnic diversity is maintained, they kind of brought a lot of constitutional changes. Okay, see, in our country India also, time and again constitution articles have been changed. Whatever has been there, see, when the rules are framed, constitution means basically a set of rules which governs the country, the running of the country, the central administration, etc. Okay, so at times we have to basically change the rules, because at one point of time when the rules were framed, the situations were different, the population was different, the lifestyle was different, the economy was different. Now things are different. So as and when things change, we have to incorporate or make certain changes in the constitution. So it doesn't mean that if the constitution is rapidly changed, there is some problem. It means that basically people are adjusting to the changes that are happening in the economy, the lifestyle, the production, the population, all these things taken into consideration. Okay, so policies were framed in such a way. Now what they did was they made constitutional changes in order to accommodate this diversity. For the people or for the leaders of Belgium, diversity, recognizing the diversity and maintaining peace and harmony was more important, and hence they made certain constitutional changes which basically protected the diversity or the ethnicity of the entire population. Okay, so from 1970, basically from 1970 to 1993, okay, from this year 1970 to 1993, they amended the constitution of Belgium. Constitution was amended 4 times. The constitution of Belgium was amended 4 times. Basically, at least 4 times they made sure that the interests of the diversities are not neglected, the rights of the minority communities are not challenged, and so they ensured that the constitution is updated so as to accommodate their rights and their fundamental lifestyle. Okay, so this was done, and this was a very important, this was done basically to accommodate diversity. This was primarily done to accommodate diversity. Okay, all right. So what do we have? Some elements of Belgium. So there were some elements of Belgium, administration. Belgium administration became the models of acknowledging diversity. I'll just rub this space off. You can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so basically all the changes that were actually made in Belgium were to accommodate this diversity. So at a political level also, the political leaders made changes in the constitution just to ensure that the rights of the minority community is not challenged. Okay, so Belgium now, see, very soon Belgium became a model of different countries how to run a country by doing a power sharing module. Okay, so constitution prescribes that the number of French and Dutch ministers. So what were the actual steps that were taken? So according to the constitution, what happened according to the constitution? The number of Dutch and French ministers, the number of Dutch and French ministers, they were equal. Okay, since these two were the major communities, one was of course in majority, the Dutch community was in majority in the entire country, and the French community was a little bit in a minority. So they ensured that the number of Dutch and French ministers are equal. Now what happens by this? See, ministers are basically representatives of people. So when you know that you have some representative of your community in the parliament, you are a little rest assured that your rights or your community would not be harassed. Okay, your community will not be suppressed because there is somebody in your parliament to fight for your community in case something goes wrong. So they ensured that there are equal number of representatives from both the communities. So there will never be a fight. Okay, the power will be, this is what is power sharing. The power has been shared equally between the two communities, the French and the Dutch communities. Okay. So basically what happened because of this, because of which no single community can take decisions and impose them unilaterally. Okay, so because of which there is no single community which can take decisions. Okay, I have taken a decision, this will be the law from tomorrow. Okay, that's not how it will go. Okay, you have to discuss. Any law needs to be discussed, the pros and cons, the benefits and the disasters it might cause. It might favor one community, it might not favor the other one. This has to be thoroughly and properly discussed before launching it. Okay, so since the powers were equally distributed, even before framing a law or a policy, the people were aware that if it is basically, if let's say the Dutch is trying to bring a bill or a policy in parliament, they will keep in mind that we have equal number of French people or parliamentarians out there who might not favor this. So they will never think about framing such a law. So first of all, they will never try to bring a bill in the parliament which creates a dispute, and secondly, even if it is brought, it will be unilaterally. So all the decisions were unilaterally taken. So any policy or any law that will be imposed will be benefiting both the communities, just because they have equal number of representatives from both the communities. Okay. All right. Now, see, for running a country, we have two things. I'll just rub this off. You can take a snapshot of the same. For running a country, we have basically two things. One is a government which is at the central level, and one is a government which is at the state level. Okay. So if I give you an example of India so that you can correlate to things more better. For example, in Maharashtra, we have the Shiv Sena and the NCP as a coalition government right now. Okay. But in central, we have the BJP government. Okay. The ruling party is BJP at the central level. Similarly, if you look into Delhi, Delhi is basically presided by AAP, the Aam Aadmi Party, which is run by Kejriwal. So these are state parties, and there is a central party. Okay, so there is a central government and there is a state government. The state manages primarily the boundaries of the state, whatever impacts the state, travel, tourism, economy, schools, colleges, education, everything. So that is managed by the state. Okay, so there are certain things on the state that the central government manages. The central government manages the entire country, the state government manages its particular state. So see, what happens is at times there might be interference from the central government, and that might cause problems for the state government to run its state smoothly. But in Belgium, what happened is that the state government was given free powers to run their state effectively. Okay. So basically, what happened is that enough powers were given to the state government, enough powers were given to the state government to run their respective states smoothly. Okay. See, the reason why a state government should be there always, or a regional government should always be there. See, at a central level, maybe a minister is not aware as to what is happening in Maharashtra.